Looking at this great view, it's hard to imagine that it all started out as one man's dream, his true passion. From the McLaren family garage, here to MTC, the McLaren Technology Centre in the heart of England, it's fair to say we've come a long way.
McLaren for the lead.
This is where it all started. Bruce's first race-winning car. We made our name on the racetrack, as did many of the greatest drivers of all time. Both Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost drove this car to 15 race victories. And we took what we'd learned about speed, agility, and super lightweight engineering to create the most innovative supercars for the road. Take the P1, for example, and the way it opened people's eyes to the possibilities for high-performance electrification. And the Speedtail, an electrified Hyper GT capable of 250 miles an hour. Everything we've learned, every drop of our expertise, has been poured into creating a next-generation supercar. This is the full force of McLaren.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you very much for having me here in such illustrious virtual audience, and congratulations to all of the nominees and award winners this afternoon. Sustainability is a really interesting word in connection with McLaren, because one of its meanings is to maintain a level or a rate of performance. Since we were founded in 1963 by Bruce McLaren, we're all about innovation, all about evolving, and very much about moving with the times, and most often moving ahead of the times. So standing still is not something that we have done or do. Many of you will be familiar with our race cars and our road cars. Those road cars are sold in over 35 countries globally, all meeting the homologation and environmental targets and legislative requirements in each of those countries. But McLaren is much, much more than its product. Sustainability in its broadest sense, not just in the context of environmental matters, but also in the context of business sustainability, cultural sustainability, and really the future of what organisations can be, is a strong, strong pillar of our strategy. You'll have seen from the video what our building, the McLaren Technology Centre, looks like. Designed by Sir Norman Foster, that building had its environmental impact at the heart of its construction and design. When we talk about how we organise our business, both in terms of our Formula One operations and our road car operations, environmental impact again is at the heart of the decision making. We were one of the first Formula One teams to achieve carbon neutral status, and all of our activities are focused on ensuring that we drive forwards in the right direction. But our impact as McLaren is far, far greater than just meeting those environmental standards. McLaren is about innovation. We are an incubator for new technologies and very much a test bed for new ideas and risk takers in terms of what we decide to move forward with. Many ideas conceived at McLaren flow down into the mainstream automotive industry, fundamentally changing the approach of how the industry operates and enabling the industry to improve and better itself as it moves forward. Lightweighting, taking weight out of cars, is one of the really significant and hugely relevant technologies in our industry at the moment. And it's one of those technologies that has been at the heart of McLaren since 1981, when we first produced the very first carbon fibre-based Formula One car. Since then, carbon fibre has been at the heart of every single racing or road car that we've produced. From a McLaren-only perspective, this allows our cars to go faster, it allows them to be more agile, it makes a very, very safe car, and also allows us to provide and meet the attributes that our customers expect of our vehicles. But again, it's much more relevant than just what the McLaren products. In really, really simple terms, and in the context of the road to zero, the road to net zero emissions in the automotive industry, lightweighting has become absolutely critical. Very simply, in order to get to net zero emissions, the automotive industry is moving towards full electrification. In order to move to electrification, engines will be replaced by batteries. Again, in very simplistic terms, batteries are heavier than engines, which makes the cars heavier, and a heavier car means a less efficient car. The way to make cars more efficient and to enable them to meet the environmental targets, but also to improve and exceed on those environmental targets, is to take weight out of the vehicles. And that's what we focus on doing at McLaren, and that is one of our elements of our DNA. Over the years, we've invested very, very heavily in lightweighting, and in 2018 opened the Mclaren Composites Technology Centre in Yorkshire. Innovation in lightweighting is at the heart of what happens within that technology centre. We took processes around the production of our carbon fibre monocoque, essentially the chassis of the vehicle, and improved them so much that we've managed to reduce the man hours and the resource required to produce one of our chassis from 4 hours to 60 minutes. The improvements in the processes that we've introduced have also reduced the amount of scrap and wastage in that manufacturing process to a very, very significant level. So that helps McLaren in terms of producing our lightweight carbon architecture for our future vehicles, but it also is a massive advancement in terms of lightweighting in that broader context of electrification in the industry. And not just the automotive industry. Lightweighting is also fundamental to moving forward and building improvements into industries like aerospace, in the area of commercial vehicles, rail, anywhere that needs to add weight to improve emissions, needs to reduce weight, and this is exactly the type of technologies that McLaren is developing, which will change and will enhance the ability of multiple industries to move forward. In the context of our own organisation, our newest demonstrator of what we do from an innovation perspective is the Artura, which you saw on the film there. The Artura is a demonstrator of what we do. At the heart of it is the McLaren lightweight carbon architecture, which, as I've said, is produced in our new factory in South Yorkshire. But it's also the first series production hybrid vehicle that we've produced, and contains cutting-edge and brand new technologies in the area of hybridization and battery technology. This is the first time that some of these technologies will have hit the market, and again, very, very relevant to the broader industry and the wider move to net zero emissions, because they will filter through and become more relevant in the context of those broader industries. Critical also for McLaren in the context of sustainability is what we do with our supply chain. Obviously, we need to ensure that our supply chain meets the required environmental standards, but again, our impact on what we do goes much, much further than simply box ticking and meeting those standards. McLaren is committed to evolving a supply chain, to allowing supply chains to innovate with us, to allowing supply chains and enabling them to take risk so that they too can introduce the ground-breaking and world-shaping technologies to the future that will drive improvements forward in terms of the environmental impact that industries have. In the context of the Artura, up to 57% of the components in that vehicle are actually manufactured within the UK. Many of the suppliers involved in the manufacture and development of those components are doing so for the first time, introducing new technologies to the market, which will ultimately become more and more relevant in the mainstream industry. For the UK, that creates jobs. It also facilitates innovation, and it enables the retention of IP, intellectual property, within the UK for future development. But in the context of sustainability, it also creates an environment for those suppliers to really push the boundaries of what's possible, resulting, as I said, in significant improvements in how our industries and others will work in the future. It's a great pleasure for McLaren to work with our industry partners, but also with the community, to drive forward improvements and to make sure that we work together to secure a sustainable future for us all. Thanks again to everybody here for having McLaren here this afternoon. Congratulations to all the winners and nominees, and I'll hand you back to Joanna.